Kentucky Derby is tomorrow, guys. Gino, my ride or die. God, you know what? I was thinking about this when I was working out this morning, and don't take that the wrong way. That I was like all sweaty riding a bike and
Thinking about me, right?
thinking
At
of
that
you.
moment. Yeah.
You like I probably talked to you the most out of anybody, and um, my friend Dan, who likes you a lot. He told me if you ever get married, he already informed me he's gonna be my plus one just so he can meet you.
That's no problem.
Uh,
Absolutely.
uh, how are you doing today, dude? Big week for you, man. This is kind of like your Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is a big one. I love this week. Kentucky Oaks Day is on Friday. Kentucky Derby Day is on Saturday. What I've been doing the last couple years on my shows for these days and on the Breeders' Cup is I'll get a different guest to help me handicap one of the races leading up to the big Oaks and Derby races. And then they also share some quick thoughts on Oaks and Derby. So I had 11 interviews on Tuesday, 12 today. You are my final interview that I was doing. You and I recorded this a little bit earlier in the week, and you're going to play it a little bit later. But that was my Tuesday, Wednesday. I had about 25 different interviews and between our NBA shows and everything. So I love it, though. It gets a chance to talk with all these different people that I know from horse racing that I've met through the years that I've worked with in different ways. And I get to pick their brain a little bit. And then I can kind of come to my conclusion at the end by talking with. It's so funny because half the people like these horses, then the other half like these, and they hate this one. But I kind of get a chance to hear from everyone. So it's cool.
And I kind of feel like this year it's like more wide open. I mean, call me crazy, so like, and I don't like I'm not the best horse bettor in the world. I'll be the first person at that, but I kind of feel like it's wide open.
It is. There's a couple tiers. So like our top tier is probably Zandon and Epicenter. Those are your two morning line favorites, the horses that are probably going to be head and shoulders above everyone else in the betting odds. And then after them, you have horses who are a little bit more, you have, some more questions about. You'll look around and you'll see, maybe the Florida Derby winner, White Barrio, or you'll see the horses that come from Santa Anita, Messier and Taiba. They'll both probably take a good amount of support. But yeah, there isn't some overwhelming favorite. There are probably two horses that are little bit better than the rest right now or the most proven, and they're all chasing them. But I like one horse that isn't one of them, and then I think is actually going to float up a little bit, and we'll talk about that one in a minute.
Okay, so let's pull up here. This is on courtesy of the sporting news. Let's just really look. We'll take these five at a time. Anyone in the first five? I know. I heard this is considered kind of a little bit of a sharp horse.
That's my horse.
Oh, that's your horse right there?
Right. We don't have to go far. That's my horse, Mo Donegal. And I think we are probably going to actually get a better price because of the rail. The rail draw in the Kentucky Derby is not a good draw. You generally don't want to get the inside because what happens, there's a field of 20. There are no other horse races throughout the year in North America, in the United States, when they have 20 horses running. This is the only time. What that means is there's all sorts of traffic. Horses are bumping around all over the place. They're getting shuffled back. A bunch of horses that have plans. I want to be in this spot. Well, you're not going to be in that spot. So usually the rail is not great because if everybody shifts over a little bit, the horse on the inside, they're going to get in some trouble. The way that Mo Donegal's running style is, though, I actually don't think it's going to really hurt him all that much. And he's the type of horse who a lot of people will just eliminate because they're like, oh, rail horse, I'm not going to use them. He wants to drop back. He's going to be from the middle of the pack to the back of the pack. And by having the rail, he should be able to save all the ground and he won't be wide. The horses that I get worried about with the rail, Eric, are the ones that are sort of fast, but not that fast because they go a little bit and then they get in trouble. A horse crosses over on them. They have to kind of grab a hold and they get stuck down inside in a bad spot. I just don't think that's going to happen to Mo Donegal. So yeah, we'll go through plenty more in here and talk about, horses that I think have a chance to win. And it won't be like I'm only using Mo Donegal, but if he is 10-1 or plus, I will absolutely be making a win wager on him. And I think he's going to be 12 to 15-1 now because he drew the rail. If he drew post 7 or 8 and on, he might be 8-1, and he should be the third choice in this race. And he probably won't.
Piggybacking what you said, if 10-1 is your breaking point, anything less than you won't be betting him.
Yeah, 8 was probably my breaking point.
Okay.
Because one thing we got to be careful about too in horse racing versus like you and I bet football, right? Let's take an example. Like the line that opens up in football, if a team is a 3-point favorite, you have the opportunity to get that line and grab that line at 3 points, right? In parimutuel racing, it's a little bit different because what Mo Donegal opens up at, he may not go off at, right? Or you may have an idea of what he should be. If you miss a number in football or in basketball or in a different sport, you feel like, damn, I missed a good number. I don't want to jump in on a bad number. In horse racing, it kind of evens out. Like in my head, he should be 8-1. So as long as he's anything 8-1 plus, I'm totally fine with jumping in on him, whether or not he started at 10 and gets bet down or whether he floats up to 15.
Now, one of the horses I already have in my mind. I love playing the pick 5. I love going for the home run here in the Kentucky Derby. Messier is not going to be on any one of my pick 5 tickets. Crazy.
He is one that I'm hearing a lot of people warming up to more and more. And I got to be honest, I'm the Santa Anita person. I'm out here in Southern California. The 2 Santa Anita horses are the ones that I have kind of the most difficult time getting a real gauge for. I think they're both talented, Messier and Taiba. And Taiba is the number 12. He's at 12-1. And so they'll both be kind of in the same range of price, probably like the fourth. They'll probably be in the top 5 betting choices and right in that 10-1 range or so. Messier is a little bit more seasoned, and you got to remember that Messier was a Bob Baffert horse, and Messier and I think the owners were trying to wait for a while. They weren't sure if Bob Baffert was going to be able to run his horses in the Kentucky Derby. So they waited to run Messier in the Santa Anita Derby, which was one of the last preps. They found out shortly before that Bob Baffert wasn't going to be able to run horses, so they transferred him over to a different trainer. He runs for Tim Yakteen now. I think because they were sort of waiting, Messier might not have been quite as sharp in that last race. I'm not completely cold on him. I would tell you, if you like other horses leading up, like Messier may not be one that you just completely want to dismiss. I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the mix there. So I wouldn't completely sell you on him and tell you to go bet him to win. But if you're playing a pick 5 and you're using 4 or 5 horses, you probably want to throw him in.
Now, someone I'm going to use in my tries, and he's going to be my long shot when I throw in my pick 5s and pick 6. Tell me if I'm crazy. Crown Pride.
You are not crazy, my friend. You are not. This horse looks excellent on the racetrack. He reportedly is working out incredibly. Anyone that you talk to about Crown Pride, they won't tell you anything bad about this particular horse. But what they will say is that we've never seen a Japanese horse come over here and win the Kentucky Derby. We haven't seen very many international horses really have any success in the Kentucky Derby, like legitimate success. So it's one of those things where I think most people aren't going to give out a horse like this or go pick a horse like this until they've done it. But Eric, what I will tell you is the Japanese racing industry is incredible. They are way smarter than the United States industry right now. And like the North American racing industry, their breeding industry is incredible. It's one of those things where it's like they built a great system from the ground up. The way they breed their horses is stronger and it's better and it's smarter than the way we in America breed our horses. We're all about flash and substance. We want horses to be really good and really fast when they're early in their career. But what ends up happening is that hurts those horses. A lot of times they can't. If you're incredible when you're really young, you're probably not going to be incredible when you're older. It's just physically, you're probably not able to sustain it all the way through. Japan, when they breed their horses, they do it the opposite. They breed to really strong, really foundation horses with a lot of foundation. Heck, they had great success in Dubai this year. They had great success this year in the Breeders' Cup. It may not be this year with this horse. One of these next few years, Japan is going to win a Kentucky Derby, and it's going to be a good thing for racing because then they're going to invest a bunch more money in, and they're going to realize that they've got it figured out, and it'll it'll give American racing and the breeding industry a little kick in the butt to realize they got to change some things a little bit because the way they're doing it isn't necessarily perfect. I'm using him in a lot of spots, Eric. Throw him in your pick 4s and pick 5s for sure.
Now, he's 20-1 right now. Some offshore sites you can lock 20-1. Based on
I would lock him in that at right now if you could. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, they call him the wise guy horse, sort of like the buzzy horse leading up that people are talking to. And being a horse who is a Japanese horse, there could be a lot of support and a lot of money for a horse like that at the window. So yeah, if he I wouldn't want to bet him at lower than 15. That would be my line for him because you want to make sure that if a horse like this does win, that it's a big price. If he were 5-1, 8-1, 10-1, I would say, nah, we got to make him prove it. But at 15-1 or over, that's good enough value for me.
Now, you said how no horse from Japan or anything has won it. I kind of look at it, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It happened. Math-wise, law of averages-wise says eventually this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So why not this year? That's how I look at it. Why not this year? Now, we have our favorite jockeys. We all have jockeys we like. I don't know how you feel about them. I like Floyd Giroux.
Florence Giroux?
Maybe it's just because I was at the old school derby. He was on a horse.
Hawthorne?
Yeah, Hawthorne. Back in the day, Hawthorne. I was there with my buddy Dan. I forget what horse he was on. The trainer goes, "What's up?" He just looked at me and goes, "I want to run." So
that's great.
So that's great. I mean, after that, this guy became my favorite. History kind of choking up.
That's great.
He didn't win it last year. What is he won? 5 or 6? He's been there. He's done on a price. What do you think?
Cyberknife. We're talking a little Cyberknife here. He was your Arkansas Derby winner. And I will tell you, Brad Cox is one of the best trainers, period, right now. He is on the top 3 to 5. You hear about the big names. He is that next guy that has horses in every division, every level, horses that really, really can compete. I'm not quite as high on this particular horse just because I don't know if the Oaklawn races were that strong this year. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's my only concern is I don't really have any knocks on Cyberknife because he won those races pretty impressively. I just don't know if he's beat the strongest horses or competed with the strongest horses yet. So that's my concern. But again, he's not going to be a short price. I would not talk someone off of betting him because of that. He just won't be one of my top 3 or 4.
Now, you mentioned how you're the Santa Anita guy. I'm going to Tabi, how you say his name?
Taiba?
Tabiba. I'm sure you have many rules when it comes to betting horse. My rule number 1A is never single Mike Smith in a pick 5. Mike Smith, how do you feel about him?
I actually know Mike pretty well. Mike, he's funny, right? It's like any athlete. Mike is one of the older, more veteran jockeys now. And so Mike's been around for a long, long time. And you go through ups and downs and lulls. What would happen for a while was Mike was on the East Coast. He was incredible. And then when he moved west and he became like the veteran rider, he was the go-to. Anytime you needed like a win rider, you'd go to Mike Smith. And then what happened, I think a little bit, you get a little bit older, whatever the flow is, a couple new riders come in and you're not getting as good of mounts. He struggled for a little while. What's happened recently with Mike is that a couple of the jockeys in Southern California left. Flavian Pratt, who we'll see on a lot of Flavian Pratt, in my opinion, is the best jockey in the world. He's the best jockey in the United States and North America. He's absolutely fantastic. I would bet him. And I never am looking at races going, he screwed that up. If the horses don't win, it's because they're not good enough in the race. He puts them in the perfect spot.
Fucker didn't want to run.
Right? Exactly. Just didn't want to run, right? Just didn't want to run. But he is absolutely the best in my opinion. And what's been nice for Mike is that Mike doesn't ride every single race anymore. It's like when you're a vet, you get a little bit older, right? He gets to pick and choose and ride like the bigger races and stuff. But since Pratt left, and then Umberto Rispoli was another one of the top jockeys in Southern California, he also left. They've gone on because Southern California, smaller fields right now, there's just not as much racing. So they look for more opportunities elsewhere. It's actually worked out pretty well for Mike Smith. You could see, I think he's gotten rejuvenated a little bit because they've put him up on some better horses. He's on a horse like this, Taiba, who's got a chance to win the Kentucky Derby and is a player in here. I don't think he'll win or lose. And if it was, it won't be because of Mike. I don't think it. Like Mike's got the experience in big races like this, so he'll give him a fine ride. He's only run twice, Taiba. Taiba has only run 2 times. He's trying to break all sorts of like insane records of this has never been done. This has never been done. Taiba just debuted on March the 5th.
Oh, wow.
He hasn't even been running for 2 months. Like it would be, he won that race. And then he went in the Santa Anita Derby in a race that he had no business winning. And he won that race really nicely and really impressively. If Taiba feels to me like one of these horses, Eric, where we may be talking about on Saturday night after the Kentucky Derby, like this horse is a monster. He may win like impressively or just finish dead last, like way out of it. It might just be a little bit too much for him too soon. A field of 20, he gets bumped around a little bit. Can he overcome it? I see like one or the other of extremes for him.
When you're looking at these horses, do you just like hasn't stakes race? Like if a horse hasn't won a stakes race, do you immediately just cut them from horses you're looking to bet on?
No, because the thing you got to remember is this is why we do what we do and we look at every game and we watch everything. Every stakes race isn't created equally, right? What one race might be a grade 1, a grade 2, a grade 3, that grade 3 might be stronger than a grade 1 just based on the horses who show up in that race and then how they perform moving out of that race. And sometimes a race on paper will look really strong and then a couple horses don't even fire. And we find out afterwards that they had some injuries. And now all of a sudden you look back at that race and you go, well, wow, if you were playing in a game and the 2 best players on what team got hurt, that team would be easier to beat. Right. So I think I like to really dive in and make sure it's like anything. It's no get rich quick scheme. It's just, looking into each stakes and going, who was this horse that won? How good are they? What have they done since then? And that's how I can kind of stack them up.
Now, I need to ask you about Barber Road here.
Yep.
I feel in a couple years we're going to be talking about this jockey as one of the best jockeys country.
I agree with, yeah.
It is Gutierrez. Did I say it?
Raylu? Yep.
This is his first Derby. Barber Road finished 2nd in the Arkansas Derby, 3rd in the Rebel. Is crazy here?
He is on every one of my tickets in the 2, 3, 4 spots. No doubt about it. And I probably throw him in on 1 or 2 pick 4s, pick 5s. Like he's not in my top 3 or 4 win candidates, but I'm pretty convinced that he's going to show up with a good effort. What I like about Barber Road is he is consistent and he's shown multiple ways that he can run with like running styles. He can adapt, right? He's shown that he can get into some trouble and he'll still come running. He hasn't won those races, but he's finished, like you said, 2nd in the Arkansas Derby, 3rd in the Rebel, 3rd in the Southwest, 2nd in the Smarty Jones, or 2nd in the Southwest, 2nd in the Smarty Jones. He's been in the top 3 in all of the Oaklawn prep races. And he's gotten bumped around. He's gotten shuffled. He's had to come from off the pace a little bit here and do different things. I like him a lot as a horse that could really spice up your exactas, your tries, and your supers. I think he could be a big price. You're going to get a good ride from Raylu Gutierrez. You mentioned him. I caught on with him last year at Sam Houston. He was fantastic. About a year and a half ago there. He was really, really starting to come onto the scene. And then what he's done in the last year and a half or so. He had a good meet at Colonial. He's been riding at Churchill Downs all over the place, and big barns are giving him big mounts. Barber Road will be in my tries supers. I don't know if he's quite good enough to win, but he's one of those really big prices that you're looking for to hit a nice trifecta or superfecta that could change the year for you.
Now, when you into this, like how I bet now, now this is my strategy. Tell me like where I'm right, where I'm wrong. I'm gonna have a what is it? Oats Derby double.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna have pick 5s and pick 6s going.
Yep.
But if I'm alive, I generally don't place a win wager. Am I?
Nope. No.
Yeah.
And you don't. And I know you and I are probably like slightly different on this. Like, I'm not really a hedger overall. You probably are more that way. Like, if you've locked in a profit, and in horse racing, it's so hard to hedge.
Yeah, I never hedge in horse racing.
I don't think I've ever done it in my life in horse racing, because what do? You play all the other horses that you don't have. Then you're in a situation where you're like rooting against what you initially liked, right? It just puts you in this weird spot. If you're someone who, it plays a big parlay, and at the end of it, you want to lock in a profit in like a football game, I still wouldn't do that myself, but I would understand a little bit more. But in horse racing and stuff, it's hard. If you are alive in a pick 3 or a pick 4 going into the Derby, and you've got the one horse you like or a couple of horses in there, I don't think I would need to play a win wager either. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, I haven't been alive in anything going in, so I've had to go back to the well again and press that deposit button a few too many times.
Is there any horse that is in one of your tier 1 or tier 2s? Sorry, let me rephrase it. Is there any horse that is, well, I'll say 10-1 or lower, that is just immediate throwaway for you on the morning line?
The horses that I don't like that will probably be the shorter prices in the Derby are, the more I'm looking at it, I don't think I'm going to be using Epicenter as much. I don't think he got the best of the draws down there, because the horse right next door to him, I don't know if people realize how fast that horse is. That is a legitimate sprinter, the number 4. And so if Epicenter does not break really fast and the 4 crosses over, he's one of those horses that I get a little bit worried about, because Epicenter's always been either right on the lead or sitting really close. If something goes wrong for him and he's 5 lengths back, is he going to be able to deal with that? It's going to be a lot different than normal. Maybe he is, but I like to see horses that I know at least can adapt to that. I'm a little worried. If he was drawn 10 towards the outside, I wouldn't feel as concerned about him. But of the shorter prices, I think I'm a little bit more worried about Epicenter. And I think that there is a chance that I could see him getting in some real trouble and having to back up down towards the inside.
And Rosario, for how good he is,
he had bad luck last year in the Derby with Rock Your World.
Orb? He won with Orb, I believe.
Yep.
Like, he just doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like,
it's hard. Think about it. It's just hard to win. Like, you could have the right horse in the perfect circumstance and everything. And like Epicenter coming into this race, he is very deserving of being one of the best betting favorites. He's absolutely deserving. But the way that it shapes up, he might get a bad trip. Epicenter would 100% be a type of horse that would be really, really likely winner of the Preakness. With his running style, like in a smaller field, he'll be able to kind of get to the front and dictate the way he wants things run. But I get a little bit worried about him versus like Zandon. Zandon's a closer. And so Zandon's going to come from the back. So he could absolutely get in some traffic and get in some trouble. But I don't think he's still going to come running. Even if he gets stopped and he has to wait, like he's going to be moving at the end. If Epicenter is stopped, I don't know if he has that late run in him.
Which brings us to, oh my God, something I love to do. Bet online, one of my favorite sports books.
Head-to-heads, baby.
Offer these heads. And look at this first run right here. Epicenter and Zandon.
Yep. Yep.
Z.
Yeah, I'm leaning Zandon for sure. I just because of the draw, because of Zandon. I'm the most. I did a fantasy horse racing draft with a couple of my buddies. It was pretty fun. We went through the 20 horse field. We did a little segment. It was Matt DeSantis. I want to give him a shout out. It was his idea. And then we just had 4 people. Since it's the field of 20, it was nice and easy. Everybody gets 5 horses, and we just picked it like a snake draft. And so we were doing it with fantasy sort of points being awarded to horses that finish in like the top 5 or so. I think even if you finish in the top 10, you get some small points. I'm the most confident in Zandon running a good race of any of the short priced horses. Now, does that mean Zandon wins? No, because I absolutely could see him be a little bit too far back, come running late and finish second or third. But I am pretty confident that he is going to have a good rally and be one of those horses in the top few. So if I had to lock myself into one of the short prices that I think is really going to show up, I'd prefer Zandon.
Oh, this is the one I kind of liked here. Crown Point overcharge it. I get Crown Point at plus 117.
And what you're getting plus money. So I wouldn't talk you off that at all. And
now, do you like Charge It?
Charge It is, he's probably like, if I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, he's probably like my 5th horse. He would be like my next tier of horses. I personally like, based on what they've done and the form and what I know, I like Charge It a little bit more. But we're talking about a head-to-head matchup and odds, right? Do I want to lay the money with Charge It versus get a plus number with Crown Pride? That wouldn't be my favorite one, but I wouldn't have a problem with you going on the Crown Pride direction there.
A couple of these I could just get a feel for, like Smile Happy and Simplification. I have no feel in this one, but I kind of like Cyberknife over Zuzus.
Yeah, I would go Cyberknife over Zozos too in that minus 120, minus 110. That's fine right there. Zozos is a little more lightly raced. He's a little bit more unproven. So I'm not quite as high on him. I do think Cyberknife in basically what would be like an even head-to-head, I would lean that way. The Smile Happy Simplification one, like that seems right. So I wouldn't really want to go bet that one. Like that seems accurate. I would lean Smile Happy a little bit over Simplification there.
Now, this is just me being a gambler, and you mentioned it a little earlier. 20 horse field, craziness is going to happen. Horses are going to be bumping. I really feel like you can't lay anything over minus 120 in these head-to-heads just with the randomness.
100%. Absolute. And like for example, the Pioneer of Medina Classic Causeway, what's hard about that is like Classic Causeway is another one of those horses who he is one of the best starters in the field. He gets out of the gate really, really well and like opens up. He's not quite as fast as everybody else after that. And I just don't think he's quite as good. But in a situation like that, I actually might prefer Classic Causeway at plus money because he could get out of the gate and have more likelihood of not having trouble early. I could see Pioneer Medina having a little trouble early. And then there are going to be 3 or 4 of these horses that their chances are done one jump out of the gate.
Yeah, because like craziness, there's going to be crazy.
Everybody goes in and out, and like 2 horses go out, 2 horses go in, and then 1 horse in the middle of them randomly gets pinned and shuffled back, and they just have no shot.
Or like everyone at the beginning.
Yep.
Moving down. There's another one. We got Tiz the Bomb and Tawny Port. I'm not really high on these horses, but at minus 140, I mean, I feel like Tiz the Bomb would be the way to go here.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't jump in on that one myself, but I would no doubt lean Tiz the Bomb there. I would absolutely lean Messier in the Messier White Abarrio matchup there.
Why is that?
I don't really know if White Abarrio is. It's funny because I don't have any knocks on him. I just don't think he's quite as good. Messier's a little flashier, and I think Messier's a little quicker. And kind of like what I was saying with him, I feel like what was going on with Baffer might have been reflected a little bit in his preparation heading into the Santa Anita Derby. They were all wondering, are they going to let Baffer get, run these horses? He's going to appeal. Are they going to give him the opportunity to? So I feel like he could be a little bit sharper here. I would lean Messier in the head-to-head White Barrio at minus 115.
Now we got your horse against Charge It.
I'd rather just go bet the horse to win at right at 10, 15 to 1, than play that one.
Basic pick 'em here. Happy Jack, Eero.
These two might be the two longest shots in the field. That's why that's a funny matchup, because they honestly, both of those horses should be 100 to 1 in the Kentucky Derby. But we don't ever see horses that get up to that price anymore, because everybody that's betting the race wants to bet a few bucks on the longest shot in the field. So everyone that's playing is like, oh, look, that horse is 50 to 1, and they go bet them. So horses don't even get up to that price for the most part anymore.
What about? Now these are chalky.
Okay, there we go. Mo Donegal in the plus money against Messier. Absolutely, I would take that one.
You take that one hands down.
Yeah, the plus 104 over the Messier minus 135, hands down. That's
so out of everyone that we've gone through so far.
That's my favorite one.
This is the one
I've seen
off the board.
Okay. Yeah, that was the one, because I like Mo Donegal, and I'm not completely against Messier. Like, he wouldn't shock me here, but he is not one of my go-to 3 or 4 horses, and Mo Donegal is one that I really, really like. So that's for sure. I mean, I would go Smile Happy over Charge It, and that's another one for sure. If Smile Happy he finished second in the Bluegrass behind Zandon. If he would have beat Zandon in that race, now it wasn't like it was all that close. Like, Zandon won the race nicely, but they finished first and second. When they raced against each other in the race right before in the Risen Star, Smile Happy finished in front of Zandon, and Zandon had a little bit of trouble that day. If Smile Happy would have won the Bluegrass, he would have been like 6 to 1 in this race. And because he finished second, he's like 20 to 1. He might be one of the bigger overlays if he ends up going off around 20 to 1, because I do think Zandon's better, but Smile Happy might be able to get a little bit of a jump on Zandon. He's got a little bit more speed. He's not like fast. He's not going to be right up with the top group, but he can sit a little closer than Zandon. So yeah, I like those two back to back right there, the Mo Donegal Messier and the Smile Happy Charge It. Those are two of my favorite ones that I've seen that have jumped up.
Yeah, Cyberknife against Crown Pride.
I'd probably lean Crown Pride there, honestly, of those two at the better price. I would actually go Simplification in the Simplification Zozos. What's nice about Simplification is he was in all of the Florida prep races, and he's shown you, kind of like what we were saying with Barber Road, he's shown you like different ways that he can run. He can show some speed. He was in one race where he completely missed the start, but he still ran second. And that's the kind of thing that could happen here. So I like that he's actually been a horse that's encountered some trouble, that's had trouble, and he's overcome it. Unfortunately, the kind of trouble that our Dallas Mavericks are running into.
I just saw a score,
I just looked over too, and I was like, what, does it say 9-0? I just looked down like, oh no.
But it's early. It's
early. We're still only 3 behind our covering, right?
It's early. It's early. There's your mulligan, dude. Oh, Summer is Tomorrow getting plus 145 against Barber Road.
That's sort of interesting, because this is a fast horse, man. Summer is Tomorrow. He's not like one of those international horses that has shown a little bit of speed, maybe, but their type of speed is not like American speed. And he's different. He is really fast. He's a sprinter, and I don't think he can win the race. He could make this entire race change in 2 seconds.
Because of the pace.
If he just flies out, gets over, puts epicenter on the rail, everything changes. Because now you're all chasing him. Horses are starting to get shuffled back. He's going a little bit faster than some of these other horses want. So now people are going, I want my horse to sit third or fourth. Well, if a horse is going really fast, you're not sitting anymore. You're chasing. Now all these horses are going faster than they want, and everything just falls apart.
moving down a little bit. Okay, there's the end of that. So what I want to get from you is this. Who are you betting on to win? What is your exacta? That's my those are my last two questions for you, my friend.
Win wager, Mo Donegal, no doubt about it. And like I said, 8-1 is my value line on him. So anything over 8-1 on Kentucky Derby Day, I'm fine with jumping on in. And what's nice, like if you're watching this when the Kentucky Derby, you don't have to bet. If you're someone who just is watching the Derby with your friends, maybe you don't play racing all the time throughout the year. A horse like Mo Donegal, he's 10-1, 12-1, $20, $10, right? It's $100. That's $200 back if they win. You can have a little bit of fun. You're not gonna if he has a bad start and the rail is bad for him, you're not gonna feel like you lost the whole bunch, but you get a little bit of action along the way. Maybe you pick a few other horses that are big prices and you put like you would playing a future wager. You know, you pick out some of the big prices that you think might be a little bit undervalued or that might be a little overlaid. I'm looking at Zandon is a must use for me in the in all exotics. So Zandon, Mo Donegal will definitely be those are my top two, no doubt about it. They'll be in all of my exotics and every pick 3, every pick 4, any exactas, tries, supers that I play. There might be trying to think 1 or 2 more.
Throw my boy Crown in there.
Yeah, your boy Crown Pride in the mix. Let's see, who else am I like? I'm warming up more and more to Taiba, you know, as the days are getting closer.
Now,
yeah.
How are you playing this exacta? Let's say it's Taiba in it. Are you gonna play it where it's your 2 choices and then those 2 and then Taiba and Crowd Pride underneath?
I will probably play. Yeah, I'll probably do one where I go something like all over Mo Donegal and Mo Donegal and Zandon. Play another one where I go like Zandon and Mo Donegal overall. So if one of those 2 horses wins, I can hit it and maybe have a bomb. I'll do that maybe once, just one time, especially in the Derby, because I'd love it if one of my top 2 horses won and then something crazy happened. I'd love that, right?
If a bomb gets in there, because the prices can be huge.
The combinations, there's so many different combinations that if you get one of those, so I'll press my opinion in some spots to where if one of those horses wins, I'll hit an exacta there. Then I'll come back the other way. Like I said, I'll probably play all of them, everybody over my top 2 in case they run second and a bomb hits. I'll capitalize. But the horses that I'll probably build a lot of the exotics around, Mo Donegal, Zandon, Taiba. I'll throw in Simplification, who we mentioned a little bit here and there. And Smile Happy is kind of that next one for me, who I'm really thinking that he should be 10. He should be more like 12-1. And so everything that he is over that is just a little bit. He's kind of like a forgotten horse right now. So he's one that I'm going to probably be using a little bit more too. But yeah, for me, Mo Donegal, Zandon will be a lot of what my tickets are built around.
So you mentioned Mo Donegal. Now what would kind of be your cutoff price to play him across the board?
8-1. So that's my value line. If he's 7-1, I'm going nah, because then it starts. If anything above, I'm fine with it. I don't mind as much playing in the Derby a few bucks across the board. Like I'm more of just a win wager person myself. If I like a horse that's a big price, that's where I'll play exactas and tries and supers and try to sort of set it up, like I said, to get them involved there.
So someone like me that likes on Pride, your suggestion would be to play a win.
Yep. I would suggest you play a win on Crown Pride. If you play some of your doubles, right, your Oaks Derby doubles, throw him in the win end also. And then I would say if that's your horse that you like, maybe you pick him and you do one exacta or trifecta, sort of like I was saying. You put everybody on top of him, and you look for a couple of the matchups, a couple of the head to heads. But if you get him at 15-1, like we're saying, you're you're $10 or $150 right there. You're $20. You're picking up 300 if Crown Pride wins right there. If you're able to score one of your doubles and connect it with the Kentucky Oaks. And if you were looking to do that, I thought maybe Secret Oath and possibly Nest are a couple of horses there to include if you wanted to price maybe nostalgic. But yeah, I think the win wagers, especially in the Derby, it's great. Play one small little trifecta, one small little superfecta with the horses that you like, because if they came in a crazy order, or play your address number or something like that to give yourself a little lotto free roll, because this is one of the few times throughout the year where you can actually make a real life changing score on this day by just getting lucky in one of the pools.
If I make those changing scores, it's still me every Thursday night.
Absolutely, my friend. I will take care of you, and I will be going to Vegas afterwards.
Thanks for coming on. Why everyone with find you on social media?
It's me, Gino B. Give me a follow on Twitter. You find this guy Eric with me on my podcast, That's What G Said podcast, each and every week. He helps me talk football, and then we transition from football season into basketball. We've previewed every football game over the last couple years. Even if it's games that we aren't diving into betting, we'll break it down, and we'll tell you what we would do, or maybe leans, or maybe numbers we are looking for. Everything that we've got going at Better Than Vegas. Make sure to give us a follow over there at BTV Bets. Eric, I know you're going to be doing a lot more stuff with them coming up in the next few months, because it's a little bit of like a slower time with the mainstream sports when basketball finishes up and it's just baseball around. So I know you're one that does a lot of NASCAR on here. You do UFC. You've been talking at USFL. So looking forward to working more with you over at Better Than Vegas.
I'm looking forward to it too. And you know what we got next week? NFL schedule release, man.
Oh, that's fun. That's where we can really, once we see the schedule, then we can make some wagers.
Then we can start diving into some stuff. Gino, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. I know you have to make an airport run. You squeezed me in.
Anytime, buddy.
Look forward to talking to you Thursday night. And
yes, sir.
If hopefully we can get some winners, my friend.
Good luck. Anyone ever has any questions about horse racing, feel free. It's me, Gino B. Just reach out. If you catch me on a good day, I'm great. If you catch me on a bad day, I'm an ass. So it just depends.
After the Dodgers lose,
I was going to say, if people are riling my feathers about Anthony Davis and LeBron, then you don't want to get at me. But most of the time, I try to be pretty nice.
Man. Well, let's make some money, brother.
Let's do it. Good luck, everyone out there this weekend.